Welcome back to This Was Supposed to Be Easy, your go-to podcast for connection, joy, and a good dose of laughter.
Hosted by two friends who've seen enough of life to know that it's never as simple as it sounds.
Or looks.
Each conversation celebrates the diverse journeys we travel, the moments of bravery, the strength we didn't know we had, and the joy we find along the way.
Because let's be honest, life is full of things that were supposed to be easy, but turned out to be harder.
And definitely funnier
than we thought. This is Amy.
And this is Cheryl. And if it were easy, we wouldn't be here.
Hi, everybody. We today are with Kelsey Padgett. She does so many different things, but she also has a Facebook, Instagram, TikTok account called Doing Mom Things. And Kelsey, would you say it's like a blog?
It started off as a blog actually, and then turned into social media over the years as social media has become like a form of entertainment and ways to get points across. So it started off as a blog back in 2014
when I started blogging days.
Yes, when blogging was like a thing. So since then, I don't have a blog anymore, but it is kind of like that, yeah.
Wonderful. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Kelsey's also a mom of 4. She has a full-time job as well and a couple other different things that she's doing. She does quite a bit. And so we thought, in line with our show, of all the things that we think are supposed to be easy that turn out that they aren't, Kelsey would have some insight into this in the way that she has built up quite a following online throughout all of this and just everything that's going on with her. So I'm going to turn it over to you, Kelsey, in that you said 2014, right? So what kind of happened in 2014 with a blog that said, this is what I want to do, and where has it kind of gone since then?
Okay, so we were living in the Metro Detroit area to like go way back. It was 2013 and we moved in 2014. I was a teacher. I taught in the Metro Detroit area. We lived there. And we moved to the Lansing area and I started staying home. So like to fill my time really. And then my second born, Lincoln, was having some medical issues and I didn't really want to like talk about it out loud. And people would ask me questions and that sort of thing. So I started just blogging about it. And I just, started with that. I don't even think it was called Doing Mom Things. I can't remember what it was called back then. But I started doing that, and it was like to pass the time, to tell my story without having to like talk about it out loud. And I would just say, and like the activities that I was doing with my kids as a former educator and like outside of the classroom, because I was just going to stay home for a little bit, a couple of years with them and that sort of thing. So that's kind of how that all started. And over time, it just evolved. That's kind of how it all started.
So what are some of the things that you really enjoy about social media and being on social media?
There's so many things. I like sharing what we do. I like partnerships. It's so fun to like learn about different places, different things to do, and then share that with other people. I like helping people because I've gone through a lot of seasons of life and I have 4 kids that are like completely different. And that's something, wanting to be a mom back in the day before I was, and like working in childcare and working with kids. I had this idea of what motherhood would look like. And I think being able to share all those pieces, because there are books, but like, you read about like the infant stages and all of that and like what bottles to use and all of those things. And then you get to like the teenage or the preteens, or even like, I have one that's 6 right now and I have older kids. The 12-year-old is like influencing the 6-year-old and like all of those things. So like being able to share those things and things that we do that are fun, and maybe things that didn't work out quite the way that I expected, just sharing those. I think those are all the pieces that I like. And then the relationships that I've built along the way with other, especially like family influencers in the Michigan area. I have a couple in the Lansing area that like we have a network now and we talk, and like when we're at events and share different pieces, and we all bring something different to the table. But I like, meeting all these different people. I met this one woman from Wisconsin, actually, and she has 4 kids. And this was years ago. And we met up a few times. And now she opened like a motel, and they like renovated a motel. And we've met up a few times. And like our husbands, we've had dinner together and that sort of thing. It's kind of fun just to like meet people like that. Those are all there's a lot of fun things to it. And next weekend we're going to Shanty Creek, which is, we have like a sponsored stay and get to share like all of those fun things. So there's a lot of pieces to it that are super positive. So
That's wonderful. What would you say that you have learned along the way? So like, you kind of mentioned that you started at the beginning in 2014 writing this almost down as like a way to process your feelings that you didn't want to speak out loud. And then, switching over online, and obviously where you were and what you started has kind of morphed into what you're doing now, especially as your kids have grown. Like, obviously didn't wake up one morning and was like, I know exactly what to do and how to get followers and all of those types of things. So what have you kind of learned along the way that maybe was easier and some of the things that maybe were a little more difficult?
Algorithms, those are hard. They
Mhm.
change frequently. Like recently on, say, Instagram, like keeping up with all of that is hard because I also have a full-time job. I have 4 kids that are very active and none of them can drive yet and they all are still need me. I think figuring that out, like I took courses and I would get, you pay for courses or just watch different TikTok or watch different influencers, and along the way that has been helpful, but also like it's always shifting and changing. Just like vlogs were cool or like read back in the day, and they still, I think people still probably write on them, but people's attention spans are different. And just like the changing and keeping up with it has been something that I've learned and been hard along the way, just because I have so many different things that I'm doing. That's the struggle, I guess. And like it's always changing. So like recently, for instance, for Instagram, the hashtag thing, like you're not supposed to put a bunch of hashtags. It's like 3 hashtags. And before it was like 20 hashtags. Like when I first started, it was like, that's what you're supposed to do. Now you're using like SEO and utilizing like AI to help with things. And also like before I wasn't really, actually, this is what I'm doing right now is focusing on in more like on a niche and doing more like series and that sort of thing. And that's something that I do, but I didn't ever like think of it that way. So I have to like utilize those series and make it more so they can come back and like you have your pillars and all of that. So like that's something I'm working on because I'm kind of like all over the place, but I think I like that, but I also like need to like, that's another thing that I'm working on. So
You've already thrown around terms where I started writing. I've got to figure out what this means. What's a pillar? When you say series, are you talking about doing several segments on the same topic, or is it like a carousel and an actual term inside of Instagram? And so it makes me wonder, you came to this with your blog, being a storyteller, which I think is how so many of us, that's how we connect as humans, right? Telling our stories. But to continue or to grow in this particular world requires you to constantly be learning, constantly be shifting, keeping up with the changes. Do you find that excites you, energizes you, or does it become more of something you have to do versus something you're doing because you wanted to connect?
Both those things, I think. Like sometimes I get comfortable and, everyone gets comfortable about things. But as a former educator too, I like to learn. I like to grow. I like to change. And the world changes all the time. The world has changed so much since, again, I started. And before Instagram was like pictures and carousels, like Instagram, like that was what it was. It was like a picture in the instant moment. And it was more like, I remember when I first got an iPhone and we got Instagram. It was right before our first daughter was born. I think it was like the week before. And I remember the first picture I posted and I thought it looked so good. And I edited it and it had like the editing right in Instagram. And it was like these different, but it was so grainy. Like if I could go back and look at it, it's so funny. But now there's like reels and I remember that being I don't even know when that was, a couple of years ago. I think like really during COVID is when like TikTok became more, it was like dancey though. So that was also something. And now it's like more storytelling in the series. But I like it because people want different things all the time. Like we can't stay stagnant. I also think back to like, this is a long time ago, but when I was in pom pom in high school and we did like the 90s. I mean, I graduated in 2005, but the 90s style pom pom was until I was like out of high school. And I remember being a little disappointed when I went back to go watch pom pom. It was more like dancey. And I was like I was kind of disappointed. My older sister was like, you can't, they have to change it eventually. Like they can't just keep on doing the same thing. They have to like That really was eye-opening to me. So I think the same with this, like you have
Mhm.
to change it to keep people, your audience, and it's always going to change. Like that's, the
Mhm.
technology changes and the apps change and the ones that you're using to edit and all of that. But to go back to your pillars and series, weekly dinners, like if you post like a reel of here's our weekly dinners for the week that we just had, or those are like the types of pillars I'm having, or here's what we did over the weekend, and do like a quick reel and kind of like a voiceover for that. But like have your pillars that you do that people can come back and know, like they can rely on. So like they know, like on Monday, Kelsey's gonna post about her weekend, and I want to see what she did. But she really didn't post all weekend. Like she might have put a couple like things in her stories, but she didn't like really fully explain what they were doing or that sort of thing. Same with like weekly dinners. Or I know one girl that I follow, Emily Lawson. She's great. But she posts date night in with her husband, and those like she'll do like a drink, either a mocktail or a cocktail that they make, and like talk about like some sort of appetizer that they make, and they like talk about how like valuable that is. And it's a really good, it's like one of her pillars because I'm talking about it, so she does it all the time. So
Mhm.
it's like a series that she does that you can go back to and rely on, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's really helpful. Now, one thing that I'm wondering if maybe you'll talk about as well, because it is another hat that you wear, is your relationship with Disney.
So that is another thing that I do. In 2019, right before we had our fourth kid, we were going to Disney all the time. Like that was like our happy place is Disney. And it's so expensive, as everybody knows. And people were asking me to plan their trips for them. And that was just like for fun. Like I would plan trips. Then somebody brought it to my attention. They're like, you should, once you have your baby and you like feel up to it, you should find a company to work for so you can plan other people's trips and, like be a travel agent or a travel planner. I actually started before. Then I was just like, I'm like a goat, like I'm all in. Like I'm like, I don't really wait around. I'm not, which is a good and a bad thing probably. But I wanted to do it. And I think I found a company, and I'm a travel planner, but I'm a 1099 employee. So it's like you get what you put in basically, the ebbs and flows. So I'll plan trips for families. My services are totally free. I do Universal, Disney, cruises, any types of vacations really, but Disney and Universal are like my main focus, I think, just because I have the most experience in that.
Mhm.
So I do that, and that's just like another component of our lives. But I started doing that in 2019, and we take trips often and get to go there, and just so then we can experience it, obviously. And it's like our happy place. But I plan lots of Disney trips.
Hearing you talk about that makes me almost circle back with a question, because in that case, you thought about, I have this passion, we have this thing we do as a family, other people are asking me for my support, let's find a company that I can work through to do this work. And it sort of makes me think about sponsors when you have social media accounts. And that, I believe, because I don't have any, I believe, being one way that an influencer might eventually gain some sort of compensation for that work. So I'm wondering, does that feel similar to you? Or could you tell us a little bit about your experience with sponsors?
So that feels different because that feels like I'm working directly with like a family or a friend that I'm like planning their trip. Sponsors, and you get paid, obviously. So it's commission based. So, and it costs nothing to the customer. It's just you make a commission off of. It's really funny because actually, when you book a trip, even to like a Marriott or anywhere, there's a travel agent fee like embedded in there that it's just already there. So like if you were just to book through me, it costs you $0 extra. Like you could book it and I could book it, and it's going to cost the same exact thing. However, like you get my extra guidance,
Knowledge. Yeah.
knowledge, extra guidance. Like I always give like a guide. You can always call me. Like I'll give you, say, I mean, I've had people just do like VRBOs or, something like that. Or like a home rental, and I'll be the one that like communicates. So you don't have to do any of that. Like you just get to go on the vacation, and like I'll communicate with the other party. However, like a sponsorship, there's so many different ways so this is going to go like I would like my mind is going all the places, but for a sponsorship that's kind of looked different again throughout the years. You can get on these different platforms, like apps and websites, and sign up for them, and they have things called like partnerships, or they have UGC, which UGC is user generated content. I'll just give you an example, like a deodorant brand. Okay. You might apply for it on one of the apps or websites, and you already have like kind of a portfolio on there. They'll ask for different things. They'll ask for like, your socials, and they'll ask for a couple of videos and that sort of thing that you already have. And then you apply, and it depends on the app or the website, and say it's a deodorant brand, and they say, yeah, let's do it. Sometimes they'll offer you either a free product or they'll offer you a paid with the free product. And really, when you start off, it's a lot of just free products because you're trying to build that portfolio and that sort of thing. And then they'll send you like a brief. They'll send you like what they are expecting. And a lot of times they'll want some sort of script. And then sometimes they want you to post it on your socials, and sometimes they just want it. So it's interesting how that all works. And I'll say yes and no. And then I reach out to brands that I really like Shanty Creek was one that I reached out to, and they were like, yeah, let's do it. And that one's not paid. That one's just a sponsored trip. So the hotel is all paid for, but the food and all of that we'll pay for. We've done a couple of those with like Mall of America reached out to us in 2020, and we went there and it was all paid for, and they gave us experiences and that sort of thing. That was super cool. So there's different types of sponsorships, and I think Facebook right now is good for being paid. Like they pay me per view per. I don't get a ton of money, but like you get more money. I think you get more money from like sponsorships. Like today, I'm going to MSU FCU, and I'm going to like make a reel for them. There's a brief that I have to meet with my kids, and like with photos and how many stories and how many like reels that we're doing. We had an agreement, and then I'll post that and tag them, and I'll get paid a certain amount. So that's a paid one. But there's all different types of them. So to go back, the Disney part feels more not like works. That's not true. I guess it's just a different type of thing. So you're not like posting about it. So it's not you're helping somebody. So it's more of like I don't know, a job, I guess. But
Yeah. I was just gonna say I'm so curious about it because I don't know, like Amy said at the very beginning, I think people I don't even know if we said this while we were recording, but people think, oh, I'll just open up a social media account and boom, I'll make money. And I heard you talking about building your portfolio because you have to have that has
yeah.
to be in existence. I'm sure there's probably certain numbers of followers or likes that companies are looking for before they say, yes, I'll work with you. And so it just, hearing you talk opens up so many questions.
No, yeah, and it does. It's like, and that's the thing that's always evolving and changing. Like, I'll watch different influencers on like TikTok that only do like UGC, which is that user generated content. And I really started to like delve into that in like the last like probably 6 months. And a lot of that is like not posted. Like I don't post it. They'll be like, hey, for $200, if we send you this or you trial this app and like make a video for us or make 2 videos for us, we'll give you $200. Like it's like that sort of thing. I'm running like there's a couple different ads that people will run and that sort of. There's so many, and you're always learning because it's always something different. And I think I was always doing, not always, but like in the last I don't know 5 years, I've done different sponsorships, but I wasn't really like reaching out to brands, and I was just waiting for like an incoming sponsorship, and those came like few and far between. So now I've gotten the confidence, and I think from watching other influencers and like how like learning how to do it, like reaching out is like super important. And sometimes it is going to be a free thing. A lot of my kids get a lot of free things. Like we'll do a lot of exchange of just because if they want something or like if we need something or like we're going on a Disney trip at the end of August, and I've started reaching out to brands to say like about packing. Like Olive in June is sending us some nails and nail polish, and we're gonna do like a little Disney moment, not like the actual Disney nails, but like make a like me and my daughter will do something before we go. So things like that, like getting ahead of it before you go. I've reached out a bunch of places around Cheney Creek to see if we can work with them so we can include them in our content. But yeah, some of those most of those won't be paid. Probably just, sponsors.
I have to say, I love hearing about how that's working for you because I have that passion for travel and I take groups to other countries to study early childhood programs and absolutely love doing that. And by working with others to visit other places, it's allowed me to go to more places. And so there's just so many different ways that can work. And so to hear you say, well, they're not going to necessarily pay me, but it might mean our hotel is free, or it might mean that, you know, we have these new suitcases because we're doing a video on the best way to pack, or whatever it might be. It's eye-opening.
The other thing that you can do, and I did a couple of years ago, like be an Amazon influencer, and you get paid. You can do a couple different things for Amazon. You can review things on Amazon, which I also do. Like anything around your house, basically, you can review it and put it up. And if people click it and buy it, then you can get some sort of. It's all different for people, but a different amount, different percentages. Same with being Amazon affiliate. I don't do it as much as I should because I don't want to be like too spammy, but you can when we go, people will be like, where'd you get that shirt? And then you can link it, and then you can get a percentage of that. So there's different ways. So like when you travel, that could be something you do. Like, okay, like take a picture of your travel outfit, and then you'd be able to, like, if it's from Amazon or wherever, you can be an affiliate anywhere, like Old Navy, like all of the places have affiliates. You just have to apply. You could link all this stuff, and like you could profit off of that. So you like, that's another way to do it. There's just so many like avenues. It's hard to like, you have to like figure out a couple and then do it that way. They'd like to know an app. That one you can link all of your things. It's like really, it's all over the place. But I don't know. I just don't have the capacity all the time to know all the things. So
that makes me wonder. So you're talking a lot about apps. What apps do you find that you use that makes your life easier in general?
okay, for editing, I would say like CapCut and Lightroom. Those are easy to use, user friendly. I didn't have to like learn too much about them before I started them. I actually really like the edit app on Instagram. I like it because the captions are free. So like a lot of the apps, like if you do captions, they're not free. There's a couple like UGC apps are like ones that you can find partnerships. I really like the Later website. And then I really like Incense. That's an app. If you're just starting with UGC, I do like Kale. You can go to like, we've gone to Cooper's Hawk. And if you like, there's different challenges on there, and you can get like, $25 or something. That one's a really good one to get started. Like anyone can do that. And they have little challenges that you can do and start making content from it. And I don't really think there's a follower count with that one. That one's easy, and I like that one. There's a bunch of them. I mean, I have a whole list. Me and a couple of my influencer friends like share a list. So we just like kind of, and then we'll share contacts sometimes, unless somebody explicitly says like, you can't share my contact. Like they will say that sometimes, but we'll share contacts. I've worked with like McDonald's of Michigan, which I really like working with. I don't know. There's so many places that you can like reach out to, and I mean, shoot your shot. That's basically, I always like, and I'm in sales now. I'm in educational sales, and same with like, my background, like with my travel agent stuff, you're going to get so many no's or ghosting before you get like a yes, or, or they're going to say no, and that's okay. And that's sometimes disappointing, and you're like, oh man, but I just, yeah, there's so many avenues, and you have to put yourself out there.
So, I mean, we're talking a lot about all of the kind of positive things. Is there ever a time where you might kind of say like, yes, of course I'm sticking with it, I love it, but this is the negative side of what I do?
Yeah. I think sometimes like I've had like family members or friends be like, oh, well, she's a real influencer, or, make little jabs, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. Thanks. Like, I know what you mean by that. Like, I don't have 20,000 followers or whatever, but I like doing it. It's a hobby. Like people reach out to us all the time. So obviously like they're seeing the value in what we're doing, and what I'm doing, I guess. And sometimes comments are hard, or you get like the creepy people that will comment and you have to block them. But I think for the most part, like putting yourself out there, and then sometimes things feel cringy to me. Like I'm like, oh, like I didn't like that I posted that, or because I had to, or not had to, because I'm the one that says yes. Like I'm behind it. But sometimes, deadlines, all those types of things. But really, if I like hated it, I wouldn't do it anymore. Like if it was horrible, like if there was anything that was that if I didn't find joy in it, for the most part. I will say that I've had coworkers follow me and they don't understand social media. So they'll say like, oh, she was not working at this time, or she was doing this or whatever. My boss is never worried about that. But I will say they don't understand that you can like schedule things, and things aren't in real time usually because I try to protect my kids. And like, I don't want to, like, my daughter was at Camp Newego a couple weeks ago, and I didn't post that she was there that week because I was like, I couldn't sleep well at night knowing that I like posted that she was there. And like, I know that that is a great camp and has great security and all of that, but you just never know, like, the creepy people out there. So I try really hard to like make sure that it's after the fact, unless it's like, you know, somewhere, I don't know. Like, I usually do it after the fact, that, and it's might be a week later, it might be a day later, who knows, but trying to explain that to other people is hard sometimes. Like, it's, and I schedule things and I make things ahead of time, and I, you know, I'll batch create, which means that you like sit there and make a bunch and then have it go out at different times. So then when I have time to do that, so those are all like the harder parts of it, the challenging parts. And then, you know, you look at your follower count and you're like, how is this person? They have the least interesting like things, but then they have like 10,000 followers more than I do. And I'm like, what, how is that possible? But it's just like comparing, and like anything, you're comparing yourself and you can't do that.
That makes sense. Thank you. Yeah, I would think that again, could be one of those kind of roles that everybody thinks they know about, but they don't because they watch the videos, and so then they think they understand kind of all the ins and outs behind it.
Yeah.
And so that's one of those. So I guess I do wonder then if somebody's a frequent watcher of videos, you know, like, so maybe they're not interested in the content creation or anything. How can they help the content creators that they enjoy? Like, what actually is beneficial for you?
So actually just like liking, like, just because if you watch it and don't like or anything, it actually brings your algorithm down. So like, it kind of drives me crazy. Like, I saw your video the other day, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, no, I didn't like interact with it at all. Like, I would never say that to somebody, but I was like, oh, well, that would, if you just like it, that helps like build your algorithm. And you shouldn't be competing with other people. Like I know people that watch it and they're almost competing, but I always like theirs or comment or, because it helps you, like, you're building a community, and it's not going to hurt you to like and comment on somebody's post, but it's just like simply that, like, just liking and interacting with a post is like helps a lot, especially with those sponsor posts. I know they're kind of annoying sometimes, I'm sure, because I see them, I'm like, ugh, but they help the whole cause of why the person is posting. And I mean, you're supposed to have like 90% that's not sponsored or somewhere around there. So then it's like authentic, and, you know, people don't think that you're just a sponsored person. But I think just like liking and commenting is like the best thing you can do. Yeah. And sending it, like, or saving it, or, you know, any type of interaction is good.
I was going to ask you about the saving because as you were talking, I realized I save a lot of videos and forget to like them. And I'm like, if I'm saving them, obviously I like them, but I didn't click like, and I need to do that.
Yeah, I think that's good though. Saving is also something that's important. So that's also like, it helps with your, any type of interaction is like helpful. Like, it builds up that algorithm, because then any of these platforms sees that as people are finding value in this. So we'll push it out more. And that's usually like, you know, what they do. That's how the algorithm works. So for today anyway. I don't like, I don't
Might
know.
all change. Well, and so that is something. So with the algorithm as well, what about, like, as we are in, you know, a culture where swipe, 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 like, what length of time is an ideal time for somebody to interact or fully watch a video that is a positive?
The full thing, I guess. But but also, like, I think like 7 seconds is like the magical number. Like, seven, if you watch it for at least 7 seconds. But then some aren't 7 seconds long. It's like they're all different. So like, it depends on the person too, because typically people try to edit the same way or in a type of way, you know, like, I'll do, like, Facebook is telling me right now to do 33 seconds or longer because those ones are doing good. But on Instagram, I don't think those do as well. And on TikTok, I don't know. They're all so different. Like, all the different platforms are, you're supposed to like change up your content a little bit. Whereas like Facebook, I think also pictures do really well. Like, if I post pictures, so you'll see a lot more pictures on my Facebook. I don't post as many pictures. I might do it in like a story on Instagram, but I don't usually post like a carousel of pictures on Instagram. I do more like reels on Instagram, and then those also post to Facebook, and then they like, you try to like do it a little different, so then they see the value in all the different all the different platforms, I guess, which also is hard to keep up with. Like, that's hard to like figure out.
So yeah, you're not slapping the exact same thing on all, let's say, 3 places. You're putting different versions of the same experience.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. Facebook. And then you look at like demographics of different things. Like, I think TikTok is primarily like younger generations. I like watching TikTok. I don't post as much on there. Like, I just don't. I don't know why, but I just don't. And I'm building that community. I'm like trying to like be more conscious of that. And then Instagram is where I kind of started. Well, Facebook is where I started, but Facebook was like, like when I was in college, it was like load your camera up after a night of going out and then like naming the album something that like came up and they thought was funny, and you'd load up all the 150 photos of it. And then now I'm like deleted all that once I like finished college or yeah. And I was like, oh gosh, that's so embarrassing. But I think Facebook is like for like older generations, I think, and a connection there. And I think that like the value in like pictures there is better. I don't know. It's just they're all, if you like look it up, I was like recently doing that, like just like trying to figure out like to change the content up a little bit. You should, and on or on TikTok they say make more series, like put out like this is story time. Like you'll see that a lot on TikTok where they're like, this is story time. I'm going to cut this back into 3 parts. And then they cut it off right at like the cliff. Like they're like, leave you on a cliffhanger. And then they wait 2 days and then they post another one. I'm not really good at that, but that's something I need to work on. But I also get really annoyed by that. But then I also go back. So they're like playing games with you. So that's also all part of the social media, like all that stuff. So yes.
So clearly you're always learning and investigating and digging into what is the right timing or the most important thing for each outlet. Like right now, today, is there something that you're needing, that you're working on or focusing on when it comes to learning, like in this moment?
Those pillars, that's really like what I'm focusing on, and learning and trying to figure out like what my followers or the people that have been following me and then growing that community. Cause I would like to be up higher in my, in my follower count. That's something I'm definitely learning and trying to focus on currently. And of course, like always trying to get like those bigger sponsorships and trying to figure out how to get in front of those brands and that sort of thing. Cause I think that helps as well. So always like a lot of moving parts. And my brain is always like, okay, I gotta like, and I, jump around, but those are really what I was focusing on. I was like thinking about that this morning, the different pillars and trying to figure out like what mine would look like and what people like to see. Cause I do a lot of like local things, but I don't want to be just I don't want to just have local things. Like I want to be broader than that, but not too broad. It's always like, you're always like thinking. And then to like add a piece in there, my husband started a drone business in like the last year. And that's actually helped a lot with like him and I, like it started as for him, it was like a hobby. And he got his licenses. I didn't even know you needed those, but he has these different drones that do different things. And he's gotten very good at it. And he works with like a couple of a realtor friend of ours. But then I have him take things for me and I'll use that in the beginning of some of my photo or some of my reels, which make a really cool entrance. Or we've gotten to work with a couple different like restaurants and that sort of thing. But I'll be the one that reaches out because I'm more of the extrovert. So I'll do that. And so that's also something learning to like, do we have these separate things or do I do it also like something where we're mashed together? Like that I have like a new one. Yeah. Like, but when we do, like we collab, but I don't have like I don't have like a social media handle that like is just for that. Like, do we start like or do I just like when I'm reaching out to brands, I'm like, I'm Kelsey with Doing Mom Things and my husband is Justin and he owns Capital City Drones. But do I like add that as a media and then say like, here's some examples and then just have one? Like, I don't, like, that's like it's just, so it's like all the thoughts but that's another thing. So I'm like, do I do that or do I not do that? Cause we do it anyway. But if I had an actual handle, would that bring in more business for us? But it's like,
So another thing you're learning now.
Yes. always learning and like trying to like, cause we like doing that. That's like fun for us, but also it's like profitable. So it's, extra money under the table. Like we both work full-time jobs, but also have 4 kids and want to do all the fun things. And everybody likes a little extra money here and there for vacations or the fun things that you do. So that's kind of, that's where we're at. That's kind of like, I'm always thinking. So
You make me want to ask, as you talk about, doing things as a family and collaborating with your husband and his business and who might you reach out to. Amy and I work with one of our friends, Holly, on what we call a joy sticky note project. And so just hearing you talk about, how this is meeting a need or it's become a thing in your family, I guess. I'm wondering what part of this adventure brings you joy.
I think the experiences that like have come along the way, I think that's like really what, and like things that like we wouldn't have been able to do or afford or with our kids. Like we've gotten to do a lot of things that like I don't think I would have ever thought of, or and it makes like I think more. So I will reach out to different places and I think about it. Okay, where could we go? Where could I ask if we could come to and do these things? And it just gives us more opportunities to do things with our kids. And it's, and they understand that, I think. Like they're like, oh, I'm like, cooperate just for like a couple of pictures. Don't yell at each other. Like, don't say anything stupid. Like, let's just like, just for a few minutes, just pretend. Or, they're usually really good, but they're like, kids are kids. But they understand the value in like hard work too. So they understand that like we don't just get these things like, that is also a hard thing because I know that older people or people will be like, oh, she gets to do so many things and like, but they don't understand that it's also like a job. Like I also have to go edit it. And I think that's another hard thing going back to like what Amy was asking. That's also hard because people just think that like we just have like loads of money and we're just like doing all these things and we get to do all these things and it's like not part of a job or like a part of work. And you do your work. It's like, it's work. And when people say that, that's true. Like when you're doing social media, like I do take time to like sit down and I have to like reach out to these brands and it doesn't come easy. Like it's not an easy task. So, like I was talking about before, you get like a lot of the no's or the no responses. And then you have to like think about it when you're there. You can't just like throw your kids can't come into a hotel room and throw all their stuff like they normally do. And, get on with it. You have to like make sure you like, they know not to touch the food at a restaurant. Like when we're at a restaurant thing, they're like, don't touch it. Like, they're like, don't touch it until mom takes her content. So like, they know those things. So that's also like, but it's kind of funny, like now that they do that. But the experiences, I guess, are like the best thing. Yes, definitely. That brings me the most joy.
Yeah.
All right. So as we're wrapping up here, we are going to put your handle and everything in our show notes so that if anyone wants to follow you, find out how your amazing trip to Shandy Creek that you have coming up is going to be, all of those types of things, are able to follow you on socials. Is there anything else that maybe you could end the show with, that if anybody else has ever been thinking about getting into this, where should they start?
I would start looking at other influencers and trying to not copy them at all, but trying to watch what they're doing. And that's really what I do. I'll watch other influencers like, okay, that's a really good idea. Like the pillars thing, like that. I know I keep on going back to that, but just watching others and just like putting yourself out there and being you and doing just posting the content and then figuring it out as you go along. That's really like how it goes. And it's not gonna grow overnight. Like it ebbs and flows. Like I'll get like, I don't know, there's times in like where I'll post something and I'll get a bunch of followers on one of the platforms. And then the next morning I'll wake up and I like lost 50 and I'm like, what the heck, what happened? But I think it just like, yeah, just like putting yourself out there is like definitely a huge, like that's like the biggest part. Sometimes, like I said, it's a little cringy. You feel cringy sometimes, but if you put yourself out there and be you, then, you'll find the right followers.
Just keep going.
Yes. Yeah. So like, yeah, just like posting and getting yourself out there and posting what you love. And that's what I would say.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here. This was really fun. We appreciate it. And thanks for coming on.
Wish you well.
Thank you so much. Good meeting you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for tuning in to This Was Supposed to Be Easy. Remember, the best stories are the ones we live.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and keep the conversation going, because life may not be easy, but listening in should be.
Stay curious, stay connected, and keep wondering.